Hey guys, and welcome back to another Unfiltered Gamer Kickstarter board game spotlight. And today's game up on the tabletop is Into the Black Boarding Party by I Will Never Grow Up Games and made by James Campbell. In the game Into the Black Boarding Party, you are going to be a space kind of guy, like basically a space astronaut kind of dude, and you're in this airlock type area. And you're traveling around defeating enemies and fighting other bad guys, villains, and this kind of stuff. Now, there's a whole bunch of different things that you can be doing in the game, and it's going to be based off of personal goals and primary missions. So in the game, everybody's going to have a primary goal they'll be trying to complete, as well as working together to complete a primary mission. Now, unlike a lot of games similar to this, like Betrayal in the House on the Hill, and games like Dead of Winter and stuff like that, BSG, you're going to have a trader mechanic in the game, and this one actually works pretty interestingly. There's a ton of different personal goals, and some of them are going to have trader mechanics in them. Here's one of them, the Federal Agent Trader card, and it tells you what you need to do in order to complete this mission. If the trader is able to complete his mission before the primary mission, he will win the game. Now in the game, like a lot of these as well, you are going to have a lot of ways you can lose the game. The first thing that can happen is the morale tracker can go down to 0. If you lose morale, you are basically losing the game. It has a standing name of a morale tracker. There's also an apprehension tracker, as well as the fact that there is a ton of characters. But once you run out of characters, you lose the game as well. Now your objective is going to be based on the primary mission, so it could be something like defeating all the people on the bridge, or escaping, or there's a lot of them. I can go over a couple here. Calling for backup, discover the communications room, and do a bunch of stuff there. Disable the vessel, discover both the power plant and the engine room, and there's tons of stuff there. Loot and plunder, prison breaks, escape the derelict, destroy and escape treasure map, so on and so forth. Quite a few different types of things. You're all going to start in a specific area of the ship, which is called the airlock, and you're going to then branch out by basically playing tile placement maneuvers, trying to go to the ship. Anyway, enough of me talking about it. Let's go ahead and show you what it looks like. Alright, so here we have Into the Black Boarding Party, pretty much set up for you, so you get a good taste of what it looks like. I'll go ahead and explain everything right now, what's in it. Moral tracker, all these different tokens that will represent the things we can be using on your character cards, such as you've got reputation over here, the morale, and the apprehension tracker, which will go up. Like I said before, if these guys go to the skulls, it gets game over, as well as when they progressively go through these different stages, different things happen. It's written down here. We got 3 different references, which equal to the bad guys icon references, how the turn sequence was work, and the reputation reference chart as well. They both are front and back, so as you can see. You're also going to get about, I think they're like 12 characters, but when you're playing the game, you're simply going to use 8 of them and remove the rest from the game. Why do you do that? Well, because after you run out of characters, you lose the game, and with all the extra additional ones, it's nice for variety, but you don't need them all because it makes the game too easy. Also, you're going to start the game off at the airlock, as well as if you're playing a 4-player game, you're going to put all of these guys on the airlock, as you can see here. Then you're going to put an equal amount of spaces. There are 3 spaces away for each of the different places. So, for instance, I have to be able to move 3 spaces in any directions whatsoever, and I'm going to use corridors to do that. So 1, 2, 3 this way, 1, 2, 3 this way, and 1, 2, 3 this way. That way it makes it all even for everybody to go wherever they want. Also, after you do that, you're going to then put rooms down, and it's going to be based off of these little doors here, as you can see. The doors that have these little symbols here are going to represent minions, and you're going to randomly pull them from the bag, and you're going to place them right in front of the door. They're basically like guards guarding the rooms there, just like that. And then that would be setting up the board. You've got room deck over here, which is always going to remain face down when you're playing them and you're drawing the corridors. Some corridors are going to have the white, and that's how you'll know when you place rooms down. And there's a ton of different rooms in the game, as well as corridors. Corridors mainly look just like these, and they have different 2 sides, 3 sides, and 4 sides. The personal goals are over here, and as you can see, there's a whole bunch of them for players. Players are going to actually get to choose 2 of them. Well, first remove 1 from the game. It's just gone forever. And then you're going to get to choose 2, shuffle the deck, choose 2, and pick 1 of them, and that will be your personal goal. And it might be a trader, it might not be. But you need to complete your personal goal along with the primary mission to win the game. There's a ton of different primary missions. I think we'll just go ahead and pick one of them here just to show you. Take the bridge. That's a pretty simple one. You put it over here. So you need to destroy the bridge, and in order to do that, there's going to be different rooms that you're going to need to pull off of. Let me see if there's any on here. There's a mechanical room there. Here's a command center. When the 3rd command center is pulled up, you're going to replace the 3rd one, and you're going to put the bridge down, and this is the bridge, and you put it like that, and there's going to be these guys that pop up. These are actually random tokens I added, but these are the bad guys you have to fight in the bridge in order to take it, so we'll hide that again anyway, just like this. Alright, But also, not only that, is you're going to have events. And the events are going to be based on the room that you open up. So when you flip over a room, you're going to look at it. On the bottom right-hand side, it'll tell you what you can do in the room, whether you can search for different things or different things happen, as well as how many events spawn in the room. This one says exclamation mark with 2, so you would get 2 events to spawn, and there's an entire deck of room cards here, or entire deck of event decks, event cards here. Some of them have enemy defenders, otherwise an emergency lockdown might occur, and explosions and a ton of other stuff. Then you're going to have loot and other loot, which is going to be gear and valuables, and you're going to start the game off with 2 gear for each player and 2 valuables as well. And those are free to equip to begin with. Then you're going to get all these different dice here, which will represent when you're searching as well as when you're attacking, and on your character card it'll tell you for attacking this guy gets 1 yellow, orange, and a red, and then this is for searching, 2 yellow and an orange. These will be used for different things, such as reputation and whatnot. You can use your reputation to do different abilities here, and it will be referencing over here what you can do, such as re-rolling a die, taking a second loot card reward, redraw all loot cards you drew this turn, retreat, and so on and so forth. Quite a few different things. On your card, it will show you as well your so your leadership, your health, and your speed. Your speed is going to be based on your character, so this character would be able to move 3. And you draw one for every single player. They get to all pick a character. You're also going to have different sides of your cards, or wearables, weapons, 2 weapons you can use, left and right hand, as well as equipped gear. You also have a hand size, which I believe is about 8 cards. Over here are going to be tokens throughout the game, which you'll be using for, I imagine, just health, different tracks like that for the different enemies that you take damage from. You gotta get other tokens here, and these are all representing all the different types of cards you can have, which is maybe explosions, biohazards, waste, healing, etc., etc. These don't come with the game, but I've been using them, especially the 3-sided die, to determine enemy movement throughout the game. You're going to be moving and whatnot, and after you're done moving, the enemies will get to have a chance to move. On a 1-2, they'll get to move towards you. On a 3-4, I think they move away, and on a 5-6, they will enter rooms. It's one of those. It's one of that combination. But instead, I've just simplified it to a 3-sided die. He will have included with you, I believe, a 6-sided die, but I was just using that for an example. It makes it easier. It's more fun. How many times do you get to use a 3-sided die, right? This bag represents all the different bad guys that are going to be in the game, and you have 3 different types. You have white, black, and gray. And on this chart over here, it tells you what they do, how strong they are, their leadership and whatnot, and it determines who attacks first in a fight based on leadership. Whoever has the highest is going to attack, as well as their special encounters, which you might get throughout the campaign. I didn't get it in this game though, which is okay, but that's why I was using these special markers over here, these guys for the bridge, but I'm sure there'll be something like that included in the game. Now, on your turn, there's a simple turn sequence, which is represented here, which has a lot of steps though. So you have player actions and events. You'll be taking actions. To move is an action. To search. If you ever land on a player's enemy area, you have to stop and fight them. So if this was green and I got to move his 2, he'd have to stop and fight. And fighting would be based on the die. So for instance, if this was green right here, he would get his yellow, his red, and his orange. And you roll, and you've got 2 different types of rolls, right? Well, 3 different: blank, crits, and regular hits. Like that. So I think this is the regular one, and this is the crit here. So 1 damage and 2 damage and nothing, and you would both fight each other based on morale, command, leadership. And if you can kill them, you kill them. If not, then they attack back. And if you die, you lose your amount of health, you lose your character, and you have to draw a new one. And that sucks. Like I said, that when you move 1, 2, 3, whatever, and then 1 more. If that was next another move, you would take the events and see what happens. We'll just go ahead and take 2 random ones to show you. What do we got here? This one is new orders. New orders are incoming from the mothership player. Players may choose as a group to replace the primary mission and draw a new primary mission from the deck. That's kind of cool. So if you don't think you can beat your other one, then you can go ahead and choose a different one randomly. As well as going around the room. And as you go through the map, you have to make everything as legal as possible. So maybe we'll put another corridor down to show you. Okay, so this one, you have to do as best as you possibly can, so that would probably be like that. Of course, that is kind of a misplay, but there's no option. You just have to ignore that, I suppose. And as you go along. Now, like I said, this is also a prototype, so it might be changing as it is gone through, but that is the idea of how it works. And after you place the rooms down, or place the corridors down, you're going to be placing new rooms down to represent all the different doors in the area. You're going to conduct combat. You're going to determine if players lose or determine if players win, and that kind of thing. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff involved in this game. I thought I just wanted to give you a good brief overview of the entire game so you get an idea of how it is played and how it works. A simple action-taking game where you move across the map. You open up rooms, you fight different guys. They all have their own unique stats and whatnot, as well as determining whether your players are with you or against you based on their personal goal cards. That is into the black boarding party. Another few things I wanted to talk about too before we go into the review is the fact that all the different characters have different abilities and whatnot. They have passive abilities and specials as well. And some of the art is not done, but we'll go ahead and talk about a couple of these abilities here. Respect: when removing damage from another player, earn their 1 reputation to a max of 5 once per turn. And specials: once per turn you may remove 1 damage token from another player's character, including himself, who occupies the same tile. Also, speaking of characters, in a 1, 2, or 3 player game, you're actually going to get an AI character that works with you. Now, you have to have character on spot, and you have to basically move together as a unit in order to use that specific character's abilities, but it basically gives you an advantage because the game is pretty difficult. I also want to talk about searching. When you go through rooms to search for different things, you're going to pull the room up, you're going to do the events, going to enter the room, and hopefully, provided nothing blows up and there's not any crazy explosions. And then there's going to be an icon representing the bottom right-hand corner of the card. And depending on that icon will determine which deck you can pull from. So you've got the gears and all the different gears and swords and whatnot. This is for the geared stack, and then over here is like the shopping cart with tons of different things, and this is for all the valuables. What happens is you will take your search die, whatever that might be on your card. For instance, one of the characters is a orange, red, and a yellow, these guys here, and you're going to roll the die, and as long as you pull at least 1 point, you're going to be able to search that deck. And how you do that is you choose which deck it is based on the card. Sometimes it won't let you choose. Maybe it's just a gear search, or maybe it's just the valuables. But if you can choose both, you just pick one, draw 3 cards, choose one of those 3 cards, and take it and put it into your hand. And if you'd like I said, you can use an action to equip it, unless it just lets you play it to, like, so this is a stim pack. Discard it anytime. When you discard it, remove 1 damage token from any player, including your own. The player must be located on the same tile to take this effect. So that's kind of cool. That's a valuable. But the gear will let you the gear will let you do more damage, like different attacks and that kind of stuff. I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about the gear because I want to. There's stun grenades, which do literally stun enemies. There's scanners, always active when equipped. Does not use any wearable slots or anything like that, so it's a free equipped thing. Roll 1 additional white die when performing a search action. That's pretty sweet. There's tear gas. Take this card in your hand, discard during combat to trigger its effect. All enemies on the same tile suffer a penalty to attack rolls. During turn, 1 critical hit into a hit or 1 hit into a miss per enemy attack roll. Wow, that's awesome. Explosives, plasma cutters, body armor that prevents you from taking additional damage, auto-targeting system, there is a bunch. And then the valuables is, like I showed you, there was the stim pack. There's floor plans that will let you basically look at the top of the room deck, or the corridor of the rooms, and like reshuffle them, put them back in an order that you want, similar to like Betrayal and stuff. You got gemstones and trinkets and baubles and food rations. There's certain things that you can combine to gain different effects and abilities and whatnot, which are also really cool. And I think other than this, the bridge, which I find to be very interesting, is that there's a bunch of like dudes you gotta fight in a bridge. There is a ton of different personal goals as well as main objectives throughout this game that you'll be trying to complete. Alright, so that is the basic idea of the game. If you want a more thorough explanation of how a turn goes, on the Kickstarter here, you can go ahead and check out the video with actually has a full turn example. If not, this is probably a good enough idea of just how to play the game as it stands. Provided I'm on the Kickstarter page. If I am, then cool, awesome. And you can check out the turn overview. But I just want to give you a good synopsis of how the game is played. Now, let me tell you about the game itself and how I feel about it. So, first of all, this game reminds me of a lot of the cool tile placement games that I've grown to love. I really like Betrayal and the House on the Hill. It has some issues, but for what it is, it's a very exciting, enjoyable, thematic game. And this has those same qualities as far as putting the corridors out and the rooms out, flipping over the different things, fighting dudes, events, and there's tons more stuff. This game has a lot of content in it, which is really cool. Like, honestly, it has like expanded content in just the base game because of all this extra stuff. Even all the different personal goals added. It's just bonus. Everything's a bonus, which increases the replayability of the game. All the characters are very unique and have their own different abilities and passives and actions, stuff like that. As well as the morale, which is really cool too, where you're able to spend morale in order to do special abilities throughout the game, which would normally you'd be deep in deep doo-doo, and then you could actually use that to re-roll a die or something like that. It can come in handy. Now I think you have to use all of the different actions before you can refresh to use the same action, the same ability again, so you can't re-roll dice twice even if you have 2 morale. But the fighting works. The the combat that is like basically the guys will move their movement based on how you roll the die, and they can go towards you or away from you or into the rooms. It all works very well, flows very well in my opinion. Now the main issue I have with the game is it's very difficult, and it can be difficult in the sense that sometimes you're going to get an objective that you literally can't complete. Like, for instance, the first game we played, we had to go to the bridge, but the room that had that fourth, the command center, you had to get the fourth command center. Yeah, or the third command center. This is the third command center. Remove this and put the bridge in play. That was in an area we could not get to because we had destroyed parts of the ship. So what we had to actually do, which is nice in the game, which is cool, is you're able to draw those events like I showed you, the cards that let you replace the current primary mission and do a new one. Nevertheless, though, it's just a difficult game because there's tons of units out, and they're always coming to get you. They're all places, and they're always blocking your way. So you're always feeling like a big struggle. It kind of reminds me of Level 7 Omega Protocol in the sense that it is impending doom. Now, the difference, obviously, here is it's kind of AI impending doom. But not only that, you also have the thrown-on trader mechanic, which makes it even more dangerous and difficult. That guy is not really for you. He kind of helps, and sometimes he does have the same objectives as you do, but if he wins the game before you, it's all over. So there is a lot of that stuff going on. The game itself works, though, and I think if you don't mind difficult games, this is going to be solid for you. And also, if you don't like difficult games, you can tweak the game to remove some of the aspects you don't like from it, and the game will still play very smoothly. You can also probably choose the primary mission if you wanted, or remove certain personal goals you found that were just a little too overdone, as well as maybe even the traitor aspects of the game. You can remove that entirely and make it a little easier for yourself. You can even include the AI as in a 4-player game, so there are ways to go through that. The morale tracker is awesome, and there's different things that happen as you move up and down. You lose die, you lose die if it goes down, and you get additional bonuses if it moves up. So keeping that morale is good. I didn't have a problem with the apprehension track. In fact, I thought this was an awesome, unique mechanic that was cool as you go throughout the game. You're worried about this thing because certain things will happen, like reducing morale will happen if it hits in this point here. Or all is lost. Players must vote to swap their primary mission. This actually helped us on our second or third game. We were able to switch the primary mission, and it saved us. So I like that aspect of the game. The components are really cool, and obviously, like I said, it's prototype material, and everything's subject to change. So just keep in contact with the Kickstarter and see how it's going along. But a very enjoyable game. I really liked it. I like tile placement games. I like working together in a cooperative, competitive style fashion, and I think this game has all there is to it. If you enjoy games like Betrayal and other games like even a little bit like Carcassonne, I suppose, kind of like just the tile laying aspect. But the theme really comes out as well. You do feel like you're going through a ship. I mean, it feels like Level 7 Omega Protocol, minus the fact that you have a bunch of strong weaponry. You've got some stuff, but the dudes are still out there and they're still trying to get you, and you might have your opponent, your friends, your allies with you trying to get you as well. Nevertheless, I think I've told you guys enough to know about the game. The artwork is great. If you like space thematic games, dice with lower dice rolling, more strategic, but not too hard to comprehend, I think you'll enjoy Into the Black Boarding Party by I Never Want to Grow Up Games.